This week on Jon Thelen's Destination Fish, we break down how to catch walleyes when poor weather conditions and a bug hatch catch up with us on the same day. Jon Thelen's Destination Fish is brought to you by Lindy Fishing Tackle and Alumacraft Boats. Got him. Fish barely took it down. Just grabbed it and swam with it. I was actually watching the float move and barely go down as he swam. That's cool. That's the thing about slip float fishing that is so great, is the ability to put a bait right in front of a fish's mouth and give him an opportunity. Good walleye to start. Give him an opportunity to look at it, stare at it, think about it, and even if he's not super aggressive, in this fish, he wasn't real aggressive. And I'll tell you how I know that. He barely took the float down. He just took it down a little bit. That walleye right there barely hung it down. You can see where he's hooked. I mean, he didn't eat it real deep either. He just grabbed it and kind of hung onto it and swam with it. Just not in that super aggressive mode yet. But I'll tell you what, that fish right there, what a great way to start the day. Slip float fishing, when it comes down to it. I'll tell you what, I don't know that there is a more effective way to catch fish day in and day out based on the ability to give a fish time to decide to bite. He didn't just bite it the minute it hit the water. It sat for a little bit. He probably stared at it, thought about it, kicked it around a little bit, and next thing you know, he finally says, okay, I'll grab it, but he wasn't super aggressive. He just kind of swam with it. We're gonna talk about slip float fishing today. It's one of my favorite ways to fish. There's no secret about that. I've always said slip float fishing is a really effective way to catch fish no matter where you go, but there's a few tips and tricks to it that we're gonna share today that are gonna help you catch a few more fish next time out. So I just went ahead and reeled to the boat just to see if I can make him bite, and he bit right at the back of the boat. Oh yeah, good walleye. Right at the back of the boat. These fish are so lethargic this morning though. I'll tell you, they're just not moving. And it's an east wind. We're dealing with a cold front. It's just part of it. I mean, it's just fishing. But I'll tell you what, great walleye, perfect fish. First fish this morning, I was fishing a leech and the wind was blowing harder. So I was fishing a wobble bobber. Couple changes though. The wind is laid down a little bit. I've changed location. But because I've gotten a little bit out of the wind here, I've switched over to a Thil Pro Series float, okay? The yellow is just easy for me to see, and I didn't need to cast with the distance. Obviously on this fish right here, I just had to drop it in his face. But here's the thing, if I was still out in the wind, I'm gonna throw that wobble bobber, because that wobble bobber casts a lot further than what I can throw this Pro Series. Then I'm running a single split shot. I talk about this a lot. If you run two split shot, when you cast, you take the chance on that line getting going like this and getting twisted up. So I run a single. And then down below it, I'm running a 16th ounce Lindy Live bait jig, but I want you to see one of the biggest changes I made. The water temps are already 74 degrees, and I've seen fish that I haven't been able to make bite since that first one. But I switched over to a crawler. I just hung a half a crawler on there. I pinched it off right down below the collar, and you know what? That fish came railing up and hit it. So, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta make a bunch of changes, okay? Whether it be location, bait, color, whatever it is. But when you get in a situation like this where fishing's just tough, that east wind, that cold air, go ahead and just make some wholesale changes. Don't be as afraid of the big change on days like today. Jon Thelen's Destination Fish is brought to you by these fine sponsors. Look at that. That quick. Right back down again. That's the pattern. I just missed it this morning. It took me time to work my way through it. This is the part of fishing that I'm gonna tell you still fires me up. This is the part of fishing that I just love from a standpoint of the fun of figuring something out that quite frankly fooled me this morning. But you know what? We weren't on the right thing. Now we are. Now we are, look at that. Now we are. That is cool stuff. So first tip I would give you from this morning is this. When fish are flat on the bottom, set your depth deeper, okay? Be 6 inches off the bottom. Here now, I'm gonna tell you something. Here it's a big change. Look at that, what a pretty fish. Dinner fish right there. What a cool thing though, to run across this and be able to tell you here's the change. The change that we're making now is I'm fishing right below the bug hatch. Okay, so this bug hatch is happening halfway down the water column, and I'm telling you, it's thick. So what I'm doing is I'm setting about 1.5 feet above the bottom so that I'm just below the bug hatch. These fish are all sitting below the bugs, okay? I can't necessarily see them on my sonar. Every now and then I'm seeing one on my Mega Live, but it's so cluttered with all these bugs that I'm not getting a great look at it. But here's what I know. Those walleyes, they feed up and they're sitting down below those bugs right now. So what you want to do is put your bait between the bugs and the walleye so that when he starts up, he sees your bait first. Because if you suspend that bait right in the middle of all that bug hatch, you're not gonna get bit. There's too many options. On his way up, he's gonna grab something else. But just putting your bait in between the bug hatch and where the fish are laying, I'll tell you what, he's gonna see you on his way up. Today we are fishing in relatively shallow water, 12 to 14 feet off the edge of shoreline points. Water temps have warmed to 74 degrees with air temps rising through the high 70s as clouds and showers give way to sunny skies. We are tipping 1/16 ounce Lindy Live bait jigs in chartreuse and orange with crawlers below Phil Pro Series XXL floats and casting to pods of bugs we are finding with the Humminbird Mega Live unit. I know everybody gets really hung up on being able to see fish with these Humminbird Mega Live units. Let me tell you something. Today, it's serving a whole different purpose for me. I'm into shallow enough water with all these bugs now, and there is so much clutter in here that picking out fish on it is really hard because there is so much going on. But let me tell you something, I'm catching fish because of it, and I want to explain to you why. I'm using it to see where the hatches are around the boat. When I turn it to the back here, you can see there's a good hatch right there. So I can angle right back there and know that 30 feet back behind the boat, I can throw to a really good hatch and know there's probably walleyes below it. I'm doing the same thing all the way around the boat. There's a clear spot right there. I'm not gonna throw over there. Keep turning it, keep turning it. There's a good hatch right there. So you know what? There are just so many ways that this Mega Live can help you catch fish. Got him. Just a case of a little bit of moving around. I just sliding the boat a little bit. You know, it's one of the coolest things I'll tell you is that jog feature. Enables you to just move in those small little increments. Minn Kota really nailed it with spot lock and the jog deal because you can move just little bits at a time like this. And I'll tell you what, it makes it so you can really pick water apart. That's a walleye, good fish. Look at that, great way to wrap it up. I'll tell you what a fun day once we dialed this in. Holy smokes, you know, this is one of those days you get to see on TV a little bit more of the process because sometimes we just don't have all the time it takes to show you that whole process that sometimes you have to go through to get that done. But today you got to see it. I started on mid-range stuff where I thought the fish should be. No reason they shouldn't have been there, but they weren't. Got one, went out deeper, never touched a fish. You know, crazy as that sounds, at this time of the year, you always feel like that progression is out, but it's not always the case. Came back in here shallow, got in where these bugs are hatching, where all the minnows are, and there you go. That's a great day of fishing.
Jon Thelen's Destination Fish has been brought to you by these great sponsors.